Hey, good morning, Tanner.
Morning.
Do you have a question about any of the problems?
Yes. Okay, let me get it open. Okay.
Morning, Nisha.
Hi.
I had a question. I couldn't figure out 25.
Me too. Yeah.
Like, I have an idea of where I went wrong, but not sure, really.
Okay. So let's see what we know. We know that it's, let's see, right about here. It's about here.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that the slope of this line is 1/2, right? So up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. But maybe I should do that with a different tool here. Let me draw this. And then the slope of the other line there is, let's see, so 1 over 2 the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. So the graph looks roughly, let's see, like this.
Okay.
So you're trying to figure out, things like what's this distance from the center to the vertex called? Is it in terms of a variable? Is that A, B, or C?
I have my notes. It's C. No, it's A. It's A.
Yeah, from the vertex. So that's the vertex.
Okay.
So A equals 3. So you got to identify some of the variables. A equals 3. Now it says the formula was y equals 1/2 x, or plus or minus 1/2 x.
Mm-hmm.
In the formula sheet, you can tell this is a horizontal hyperbola because it's kind of going off to the right and left here.
Mm-hmm.
So look at the formula sheet for a second and tell me, is it A over B or B over A? I always kind of forget.
It's B over A.
B over A. So B over A equals a ratio of 1 to 2. Now I know it's actually not 1 and 2 necessarily, but the ratio is 1 to 2. It could be 2 to 4, it could be 3 to 6, etc. Now I do know, right, that A, that A is really 3, right? So I'm just going to plug a 3 in here. Instead of B over A, I'm saying B over 3. I'm just going to cross multiply this guy and see what happens. So I get 2B equals 3. So B equals 3 over 2. So but now I know my A and my B, which is really all I need to know to write my equation at this point. Did you follow those steps there?
Yes.
Okay. So it'd be horizontal, so the x squared goes first. There's a minus sign because it's a hyperbola, and it's equal to 1. I always just think underneath x is horizontal movement. It's moving 3 to the right here, so that's going to be 3 squared. So a squared, this is in the formula, that's going to be a squared, so that's 9. Again, in the formula, that is my a squared. And this is going to be my b squared. And so b squared, b is 3/2, so that's going to be 9/4 will be the...
That's what I got, but they got a different answer.
Okay, so this is a correct answer, but you can write it differently. There's kind of a more elegant way to write it, but that's the correct answer.
Okay.
I would accept it like that, but they probably, remember dividing by fractions, like multiplying by the reciprocal here?
Yes.
So I could write this as the reciprocal being multiplied, so is that how they wrote it?
Yes.
You see they just took the reciprocal of the 9/4 there and it multiplied it essentially. So it's just a kind of a more elegant way of writing their answer. I would accept this as the answer, and I would accept this as the answer. So I would accept either way of doing it.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty tough little problem there. Other questions on homework? Anyone have another question?
I do.
Okay.
Number 23.
Okay. Let's look at that one. So we've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it kind of like it goes through the point 3, -5. So 3, -5. So there's a point here at 3, -5. And the graph looks roughly like this and roughly like that. I know that's a really rough graph, but you had the book answer there. Okay, so the key here, I think, would be first, if you can write down what type of parabola and write the formula in terms of variables here. I think that's going to really help us. So you can tell right away, hopefully you can tell this is vertical, it's going up and down. So my y term is first, so y squared minus x squared, because it's vertical. I think on hyperbolas, it's kind of weird. The a squared is always underneath the first term. So that's going to be a squared, that's going to be b squared. And you know a or b, like this is the vertex, and this is the vertex, and this is the center. What's the distance from the vertex to the center always called?
A.
A. So a equals 4. So now I'm almost there. Like I have a whole bunch of my equation. I have 16 minus x squared over something equals 1. I really just need to figure out whatever my b term is, whatever b is. And it's hard to know. I'm just going to put b squared in there right now. And I don't know what it is. Does anyone have an idea what we could do to solve this? We've done problems like this in other settings before.
You plug in the coordinates?
Yes, absolutely. So this is your x, this is your y. And so I can just plug those in. I'm going to plug in just those numbers right there. So my x is 3, so it's going to be 3 squared. And my y is -5, so -5 quantity squared. So now it's just a matter of solving this equation. It's not going to be like super easy necessarily, but let's see what happens. So this will be 9/16 minus 25 over b squared equals 1. I'm going to go ahead and...
-5 over 16, because it's a vertical hyperbola.
Ooh, excellent point.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait. Say that again?
Since it's y and x.
Isn't it y squared minus x squared?
Yes, but
Is a squared underneath there? Underneath y?
Yes.
She's saying like 3 squared should be over b squared.
Oh, I put it in the wrong spot. I see what you're saying. Sorry. Wow. Okay. So y is this one. So, sorry, this is going to be -5 quantity squared. And this is going to be 3 squared. Thank you for correcting me on that. I had the variables right. I just plugged in the wrong x and y in the wrong spot, I guess. So this will be 25 over 16 minus 9 over b squared. So now it's just a matter of solving this for b squared. I would probably subtract the 25/16 from both sides. And so you'd get negative 9 over b squared equals, that would be 16 minus 25 up in the numerator if you multiply that 16 over 16. So negative 9 over 16, is that right?
Yes, I think.
16 16ths minus 25 over 16, just making sure. Okay, so negative 9. You might just know what the answer is now. Do you see the form of this? I don't know if you can see kind of the pattern here, but
Yeah.
we have negative 9. We could cross multiply this, but there's no need because I have negative 9 in the numerator, basically. B squared equals 16, so I think we can safely say that b equals 4 at this point. Remember, b is always positive for hyperbola, so b equals 4. So now my equation would be y squared over 16, because we already knew that part, minus x squared over b squared, which is
16.
16. Wow, equals 1. So it's kind of unusual. A and b are actually equal to each other, which can happen with ellipse, but it can happen with hyperbola. Other questions from homework?
I have a question from the quiz that we took.
Okay.
The extra credit with the like they gave us the length of the major
Can you tell
axis.
us, just tell me real briefly what it was? Just read it.
Length of the major axis is 4. Pokey is on the x-axis. The ellipse passes through the point 2 root 5.
Okay, so if you kind of like graph that. So we've got major axis length 4. So typically students are going to think, well, 2 and 2, like the way we've been doing it. Does this make sense? Like those are the vertex points?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's a point 2 comma root 5. So root 5 is like 2 point something. So somewhere right up here-ish, there's a point 2 comma root 5. I mean, even just kind of logically, like an ellipse would have to look something roughly like this, right? Like it could go a little higher or a little lower, but it's got to have that look to it. Ellipse doesn't really go straight up. It goes up and to the left as it goes kind of that way. There's really no way for it to include that point, is there? So at this point,
I said undefined because I couldn't, when I did the math for it, it was like really
if
weird.
you said undefined, I think I gave you 1 bonus point, did I, or no?
Oh, I didn't check. I just knew that I didn't know what I was doing.
So I think if you said undefined, I think he gave you 1 bonus point. If you said not an ellipse, I gave you 3 bonus points.
Okay, cool.
That's what I wanted. But there is actually a way to do it, but I wouldn't expect you to know how to do this, but one student actually did.
I think it was Charlie, right?
Was it Charlie?
Yeah.
Maybe. They kind of moved the ellipse over.
Yeah.
And we're able to come up with an equation that actually works. There is a way to do it. I didn't expect you to get that because we've done all our ellipses with a 0 as the 0 as the center. So with that in mind, I didn't state it specifically. I accepted not ellipse. That's the question, the answer I expected. But again, one student actually figured out a way to use the formula and plugged in the point and got it. So it's kind of cool.
Impressive. Well, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions on the quiz or the homework?
Yes. When you're drawing the hyperbolas, do you put arrows on both the hyperbolas and the asymptotes?
Yes, I would.
Like on the end. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think so in an equation, if one of the like y squared or x squared ends up like over 1, do you still need to include the 1, or can you just put like x squared or y squared?
I accept either way. It's easier to think about it with graphing when the 1 is there, but it's cooler as a mathematician to not write it.
Okay. That's all.
Grace, how was breakfast, by the way? Is breakfast good?
Yeah, I'm having cereal.
What kind of cereal?
Honey bunches of oats.
Oh, very, very healthy there. Nice.
Yes. And frosted flakes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Any questions, Grace, or anyone?
No.
I have another one.
Okay.
So on number 7, I know you would divide by 144
Yes.
on each one, but I just still don't know how it goes with number 2.
Okay. So we know right away the x value would be, so that the change in x, like, my graph is too small here, but it would be 12 units to the right and 12 units to the left. Does that kind of make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so it's definitely a vertical ellipse. So we know it's vertical.
Yeah.
I might want to rewrite this as y squared over a fraction. I'm going to write it as 144 over 16. Does anyone, let's do that in our calculators here. So 144 over 16. Let's see. 144 divided by 16 is 9. Okay. So that's really y squared over 9 minus x squared over 144.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
see it now? So it's got to
Yeah.
be like that right there. 3 units up, 3 units down. And again, I don't have enough space here, but it'd be 12 units over to the right and 12 units over to the left.
Okay.
And then it's definitely like
Mm-hmm.
opening up, kind of wide and opening up. If that, I think that kind of makes sense. You'd
Yeah.
have to draw your asymptotes and do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Just looking at it, you can tell pretty quickly it's got to be 2 there. So this causes a little trouble just because that's not something most people don't know. 144 over 16 is 9. So you should calculate it, I guess. Again, the way I got that, I divided by reciprocal, divided by a fraction, same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. I did it backwards there. Other questions? Okay. Well, thanks for coming to the homework session, the optional session, and I will stop it now. I'm about to post your quiz, and so you can have fun. And if you do the quiz, which is only like, I don't know, 5 or 6 questions, if you do it by tonight, by midnight, you get a bonus point. So I'm expecting that from all of you for sure.
Okay.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Thank you.